The Baltimore City Inspector General suddenly is without access to some city documents after that access was cut over the weekend.
Fox 25's Mackenzie Frost details the implications and has reaction.
Baltimore's watchdog will no longer have access to communication stemming from the law department. The mayor's office says this decision was made to ensure attorney-client privilege stays protected. But this comes as investigations are underway and experts raise questions about why the city decided to make this information no longer known to the public. While the city was busy with a blanket of snow this weekend, Mayor Brandon Scott's office issued a news release severing some email access for the Office of Inspector General, calling it attorney-client privilege details. The city announced the watchdog's office would no longer have access to documents from the law department. The city claims the OIG did not get permission before accessing this information during an ongoing investigation.
It appears as if that this information was released at a time when people weren't paying attention. And this is something that people should pay attention to.
Taxpayer advocate David Williams argues Inspector General Isabel Cumming and her team should be independent, and that means having access to information and documents, especially since the OIG has subpoena power.
They have always had access to these documents, so it really begs the question as to what is being investigated and what could potentially be embarrassing for the Scott administration and the city.
The OIG often has many probes unfolding, so it's unclear what specific investigation sparked the city to cut access to Cumming and her team. But maintaining access to information has been front and center for the OIG on social media and beyond recently. Monday, the OIG pointed to this December 3rd hearing.
This office is about oversight. This office is also about access. It's about transparency.
Where Cumming explained how requests from her office have been received.
I've had to deal with an issue involving access for me because one of the investigations that we had to do that was published, it involved Slack. And the city of Baltimore was paying for it, but we weren't given access to it. So in order to do our investigation, I was told to subpoena the information from the entity. And when I got back the information, I was very surprised that the law department considered our office, my request as the Inspector General in the subpoena, they considered it as a MPIA request. Well, the Office of the Inspector General works for the public, but is not the public.
While she didn't mention the specific probe, last June, the OIG published a report finding Slack was being used by the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, or MONSE. The IG's investigation found those discussions were not disclosed in a separate public records request. On December 4th, the office shared this paper, noting subpoena power comes directly from the city's charter rather than submitting a public records request for information, adding the IG shall have access to all records of any city entity within the scope of the office, and the Inspector General is not required to obtain a subpoena for any records request made to a city entity.
These are still city documents, and it doesn't matter whether it's attorney-client privilege because the client really is not an individual, it's the agency. So there's already long established precedent that attorney-client privilege does not come into force here and does not matter here.
Cumming has also taken to her own social media pages recently talking about the importance of access to information. On January 23rd, writing that redactions and denial of city records to the OIG denies the public's independent fraud fighter their ability to do their job. While the city maintains cutting this access won't hinder OIG investigations, Williams argues otherwise.
Sweeping something under the rug does no good for taxpayers, consumers, or anyone in the city of Baltimore, and could have the chilling effect of future inspector generals not having access to information.
Monday, I reached back out to the mayor's office to try and get more clarity about why this decision was made. The mayor's office pointed me to the original statement from the Office of Information and Technology and said they would have no further comment. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
I'm Kai Jackson. Thank you for watching. Here's another video to watch. Also, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel.